Welcome back to Sports Extra with me, Ahmed Nawaz. Time now for discussing a very important segment tonight, and it's a very important topic because the fact is that this is a topic that's very personal to me as well. I think being a football fan, you have to admit that this was an absolute absurd incident that took place. We'll be discussing all about that, but the fact is such a glorious history. 1947, after independence from Britain, when the Pakistan Football Federation was established with Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Quaid-e-Azam, founder of the nation, with its patron-in-chief. 1948 became affiliated with FIFA. Back in 2003, when Faisal Saleh and his management took over, then it was a completely another journey. Then, of course, things went bad. FIFA Normalization Committee was formed, and a lot of stuff has been happening. We'll be discussing all about that, and I'll be welcoming my guests as well. But first of all, I think we've got a report from the team of Sports Extra. Let's just go take a look at this report by Asad and then come back.
Pakistan football is verging on suspension from FIFA after Syed Ashfaq Hussain Shah's group took back control of Pakistan Football Federation headquarters and accounts from FIFA-led Normalization Committee. The development happened after the Exco and Congress meeting of Ashfaq-led Pakistan Football Federation, in which they showed disappointment over Normalization Committee's performance. Earlier in September 2019, they handed over Pakistan Football Federation control to FIFA-installed Normalization Committee. The Normalization Committee alleged in a statement that the Pakistan Football Federation was attacked in Lahore by Ashfaq Shah and his group. Our staff was physically harassed and were held hostage, and the group has taken over the Pakistan Football Federation have, according to the statement. Haroon said that it was frightening and it was something scary. They seemingly disturbed us, and they stormed into my room at around 1:30 p.m. and started shouting, and they told me that they have decided to take possession. Haroon said that I asked them how this can happen, as it will have grave implications over Pakistan's football if FIFA suspends Pakistan. Haroon alleged that they said they will handle the things. I told them, let's think before we do any adventurism. They said hand over and leave. On the other hand, Ashfaq, while talking to the media, rubbished Haroon's remarks, saying he was telling lies. We neither harassed Malik Haroon nor anyone else who was in the room. We gave Haroon all the respect. We went to meet him today and handed him the letter that we have got a mandate from the Pakistan Football Federation Congress and Exco to resume the PFF charge. I told him that we had given the Normalization Committee the charge in good faith and in 2019 with the hope that it would hold the PFF elections in a fair and transparent way within the FIFA mandate. The incident also forced the cancellation of the ongoing Women's Football Championship that kicked off earlier this month in the southern coastal city of Karachi, with 19 teams comprising young female footballers coming from all over the country to take part in the event. The cancellation left participants shocked and disappointed. Taha Ali, coach of Karachi United Football Club, said, "It is a dark day for all women football players in the country. Football in Pakistan is suffering again due to politics. The actual stakeholders in this game are the players and coaches, but we feel powerless in this situation." The club's captain Nina Zeri said footballers crave the exposure that national and international tournaments offer, and a possible suspension will lead to losing years of exposure on the national and international circuit. Well-known entrepreneur and owner of Peshawar Zalmi, Javed Afridi, expressed his willingness to provide any financial support required to resume the tournament.
Right, there you have it, that detailed report from Asad Nawaz. We now have the honor of being joined by the chairman of the FIFA Normalization Committee, Mr. Haroon Malik. Haroon Saab, Assalamu Alaikum, sir. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Ji, wa alaikum assalam. Thank you so very much.
Right, sir, the Gori incident is something that has really given us dark days when it comes to football, sir. But my question, first of all, please allow me to be just a common Pakistani and a layman and ask you that once FIFA has appointed you, sir, as the chairman of the Normalization Committee with your task of holding the elections, then, you know, it's not common sense for anybody to just come up and say that we're taking PFF, you know, it's not a rebellion, is it?
I agree. I don't think there should be a rebellion. We're not a stateless entity. The fact of the matter is why somebody would barge into your office and do this action is beyond me. FIFA has been very clear in its mandate of the Normalization Committee. FIFA has addressed the previous group that was responsible for Pakistan Football Federation, which was Faisal Saleh, the FIFA recognized body. And then they handed over the Normalization Committee affairs to Hamza Khan. And so since that day, I think the mandate has been clear from day one. It's a 5-point agenda. for somebody to storm the building, to do the actions that they did, to me, it just absolutely, I have no words to describe.
Sir, you know, as Pakistanis, we all feel sorry for the incident as it has unfolded. I'd like to clearly ask you, sir, your statement that you made to Al Jazeera, where you said, I was working at the office when a mob organized by Shah barged into my office and asked me to hand over charge of PFF and all bank accounts. You said they restrained me and locked the door, shouting and telling me to hand over PFF to them. So do you stand by this statement? Because there are a lot of rumors coming that you are now taking back this statement.
Absolutely nothing of the sort. The rumors are being started by whoever it may be. But this very clearly happened. I was on a Saturday morning sitting in my room working. The entire incident was coordinated by the Director Administration, who happens to be the brother-in-law of this Ashfaq Shah. They arrived in the office sometime in the late afternoon. They barged straight into my room, an angry mob. I walked them to a meeting room. I said, tell me what the issue is. They told me to hand over charge. I said, give me a couple of days. Let's think this through. They said, no, we want charge today. Hand over charge in the accounts and leave. I said, okay, give me a few minutes. I walked back to my room. They barged straight after me. I explained all the consequences to them. Their statement throughout has been, we don't care. We don't care what FIFA does. We don't care if we ban. None of this is your problem. Hand us the accounts and leave, to which I refused. I said, I will not hand over charge. I'm a FIFA assigned body. And then when the situation escalated, I picked up my stuff and I tried to leave the building. The door leading outside was locked from the inside. They had a bicycle lock wrapped around the door handles. I broke through the glass. I went out of the building and I walked out of the gate after the guard opened it. It has been one of the most harrowing incidents that I can imagine being in. I asked my staff to leave with me. They physically restrained my staff members. They frisked them. They took their personal belongings. And it is only when our lawyer with the police went in were we able to release our staff. And they were adamant on getting control of I don't know what. And today, apparently, they're applying to get all the FIFA accounts changed to their name. It's lawlessness of the highest magnitude. And then to hear that this didn't happen, it's just so blatant, I don't have the words.
Right, sir, I've got the other side, because obviously two sides of a story need to be heard. I'll keep you online.
Yeah.
But sir, very quickly, yes or no, sir, are you going to be following legal proceedings against what happened? Sir, I'm having trouble hearing you. Sir, my question is, are you going to follow legal proceedings against it?
There are two levels of proceedings. One, we have our lawyer who is working on it at the local level. And at the second, we have FIFA legal involved as well. And they will be coming out with their own set of actions.
Right, sir. Mr. Malik, please stay with me online. I'll just come back to you in a second. I've been joined now by Ashfaq Shah, the president of the PFF. Sir, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sports Extra. Sir, thank you for joining us. Obviously, the incident is in front of us. We have allegations from the other side, and you also tell a different story. Sir, first of all, my question, I want to be very humble, sir. Very clear, very common as a Pakistan football fan. My question, when there is a football normalization committee appointed by FIFA, sir, internationally, why would you say that we want to take things over, sir? For our viewers to understand, why would you want to take things over?
As a matter of fact, first of all, I would like to thank Pakistan TV for providing me this opportunity to be on air and address the people of Pakistan also. It's a lie of the highest order that we were trying to take over. In fact, I was the person under whose leadership 19 months back, after being elected as the constitutional president of football Pakistan, I handed over charge in a very, very decent, polite and loving manner to Mr. Hamza Khan, who was nominated by FIFA and AFC. they must appreciate that the way I handed over the charge to Mr. Hamza Khan was very evident, inviting him to Pakistan Football Federation, then presenting him a bouquet, offering him a cup of tea, handing over him the checkbooks and everything, and wished him, God be with you, and we are living, and we are giving you the administrative charge of Pakistan football to hold free, fair and transparent elections. Now, everybody understands who is a person who would like to be leaving the building, who is the constitutional president, being elected by the Supreme Court of Pakistan. I offered and sacrificed, and my most humble, and I'm so thankful to the members of the Executive Committee and to the members of the Congress who, with a single voice, endorsed to whatever I had suggested for handing over the administrative charge. Now, it was the duty and obligation of the Normalization Committee to hold those elections. Everybody in Pakistan knows it is almost now 19 months. Mr. Hamza Khan was there, and it was for the first time in the history of Pakistan football, there were cases of harassment and rest. Everybody in Pakistan knows what happened and how they were concluded. And at the final stage, the person nominated by FIFA was forced to resign and a new committee came in. Now, you must understand that 14 months was not a short time. When elections in Pakistan by an interim government of people of Pakistan whose total population is 220 million, if elections can be held within 3 months, why elections of about 1,600 clubs cannot be handled and done within a span of 3 to 6 months? Everybody must understand that there should be a will to do something. If we have the intentions to do something, then there are solutions. In a span of this total 19 months, there's not a single sign of the so-called elections roadmap to elections. There was no sign, no proposal. Instead, the work done by the Hamza group, which was withdrawn by FIFA and AFC, and all the decisions taken by that Normalization Committee, which were approved by FIFA, were revoked by the second Normalization Committee.
Right, sir.
Then a third committee came in, which revoked the decisions of the second committee also, and also sacked him. Now, I was never there in Pakistan Football House, nor I was a decision maker, nor I have ever approached them. The first time when Mr. Harun Malik came to Pakistan, being my junior, I visited him and advised him to go for free, fair and transparent elections. This was the time when we came to Pakistan. After 4 months' time, even that, he was prepared, discussing everything. And the first thing, the difference I got to see was when I was standing close to him, he said, please stand at a distance of some distance because it is this COVID. But later on in the evening, there was a program which was in the media, it was mixed up and everything. I said, okay, different standards for different people. So we don't have these things. Anyway, even after a span of 4 months, had he given some program, we would have never been forced to go there. Now, we are the elected and the constitutional body of Pakistan, being elected by the Supreme Court of Pakistan. So, again a meeting was called in Islamabad, which was attended by a vast majority of members of the Executive Council and the Congress members. The resolution was passed by the committee, Executive Committee, and later on it was approved unanimously by even the Congress. And the mandate was given to me to reassume the charge of Pakistan Football Federation. They very well knew that we were coming to the chairman of NC. When we went there, we waited. Mr. Harun came to the auditorium. He addressed to me and we discussed for almost half an hour. And then when I gave him the total documents, everything in front of all those people who were with me in the auditorium, he said, give me a few minutes. And he walked out of the auditorium and he went to his office.
Right, sir.
And he had asked for only for 5 minutes. We waited from 5 minutes to 50 minutes and there was no response. Ultimately, I, all alone, along with my PSO, we walked into his office and he was waiting in the office with this Director of Finance. So, to cut the story short, I requested Mr. Harun that please, Harun, I had handed over the charge to Pakistan Football Federation on administrative matters 19 months back. But so far, you people have failed to give any sign of elections of football in Pakistan.
I agree. Sir, my apologies for interruption, but if I just might ask you that in 2018, FIFA still highlighted that they were still not aware of the judgment of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Sir, when the Honorable Supreme Court of Pakistan, which is the highest legislative body of the country, has made a decision, then, sir, why wouldn't FIFA actually take this decision up and then obviously tend to see those things in that way? Because obviously the Supreme Court is not politically motivated. It's a free and independent judicial body.
And you must understand, the law of the land, it prevails over everything. They have given a decision. I cannot, being in Pakistan, I cannot deny or defy the orders of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. And in those elections, even it was not me that who was participated. It was with the consent of both the parties that elections were held, and we were declared as the legitimate body of Pakistan Football Federation. It was only to support FIFA's point and to them so that another body could also be formed so that we could do another to satisfy them. But even after a span of 19 months, we should have a heart to understand 19 months is more than a time. And if you don't have the intentions to hold elections, even 6 years is left. So when I asked Mr. Harun, I said, I've come here to take over charge, and being a Muslim, I believe in one thing. One day, everybody has to be present in front of God and to be answerable. And I talked to Mr. Harun in a very, very decent manner, and I even told him, Harun, you and we come from the same institution. You are 20 years junior to me from Cadet College, Abbas. You should have the decency to give me the charge. He said, okay, you have come to take over charge, this is the charge. And with these words, right. And these are the checkbooks, and these are the...
Hand them over. I understand. My apologies very much to Honorable Ashfaq Hussain Shah Saab. Obviously, we're short on time. Harun Saab, if you're still online with us, I'll take your final thoughts. Sir, Shah Saab highlights another incident. I don't want to go into the details, sir, but why don't we just bury the hatchet and move on? Because it's football that should prevail now. If he's asking for elections, sir, why don't we see elections happening in your honest view and of your tenure as the Normalization Committee Chairman?
Yeah, I'll give you 3 different things and we can go from there. And I'll be really quick because I understand time is short. First of all, to Ashfaq Shah Saab.
Right, technical difficulties, unfortunately. I think, yes, sir.
First of all, to Ashfaq Shah Saab, I would say from January 20th to March 27th, I don't know how his math works, but it's definitely not 4 months in my mind. The second important thing that...
Yes, sir.
Second important thing that I would like to point out is that in the press, in the media, over the last 1 month, multiple times, in a press conference, I've advised that the election roadmap will be available in the first week of July. And everybody is well aware. When he came into the office, I told him the same thing. He said, I don't care. My last point is that he says he came in for a meeting. He says that he handed over charge to me. I'm sure that he must have sent a meeting request. I'm sure he has a letter signed from me that says, here's your charge. I would love to see those because that would be news to me.
Completely understood, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Harun Malik, for joining us, sir. I think I would definitely request our team of Sports Extra if we can have another complete program on this. It's very, very important to discuss all the facts. And I think, being part of the state, being a state television, it's our responsibility and it's our constitutional duty to, bury this hatchet and make sure that both ends come to a logical conclusion so that Pakistan may avoid being suspended from FIFA again and so that football prevails. Very sad when I heard a young girl saying that my football career is over after what I've witnessed and this championship is cancelled. I'll leave it at that. Join us tomorrow once again. From me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.